and we're here with Randall again, and Randall's going to talk to us about Jihad and the new releases for Jihad.
Okay. When I worked at FASA, so this is going way back, one of the things that we would do is we would get together about every 2 to 3 years and have a big summit. And this was a storyline summit about what was going to be the next storyline that we would produce. Like Stackpole would come in, Lauren Coleman would come in, some of the other authors, developers would get together, marketing, and we would have a 2 to 3 day session to kind of map out the overarching stories. The genesis of the Jihad goes all the way back to about 1996 or so, as we started to slowly lay the groundwork of, okay, well, we have the Word of Blake, which is a splinter group from Comstar, who believes that Comstar has gone astray. And so, well, you have a perfect story there, as you do in almost any setting where you have a splinter group that wants to get back at its parent group that's gone astray. So as FASA closed its doors and WizKids bought the rights to the intellectual properties of BattleTech, and then they went on to do MechWarrior Dark Age, the plans for the Jihad that would eventually publish starting 3 years ago had already all been laid, and they were well underway. Now, obviously, some modifications needed to be made as WizKids developed the MechWarrior Dark Age storyline, and we worked, coming forward and then going back to weave all those plots together. So 3 years ago, the Dawn of the Jihad sourcebook published, and there was a lot of good reception at the time. There were some that were reserved, weren't quite sure whether this was the storyline for them or not. It's totally understandable. It's the same as always when we did the FedCom Civil War, going all the way back to when the clan invasion occurred. You always have the players that are a little reserved, not quite sure yet, and I believe over the last 3 years we've been able to win over a good chunk of those, that this is a very exciting storyline. And even though the ending is known, there's a lot of very fun, cool, surprising things to happen between now and then. So the products we have that lead you into the Jihad is the first product is Blake Ascending. And what this is this is actually a reprint of the first 2 products that were published in the line, Dawn of the Jihad and Jihad Hotspots 3070. So, just to be clear, if players own both of those products, you don't need to run out and buy this one. But we wanted to make sure that the first products in the Jihad storyline were in print and available for those that hadn't made the transition and were starting to see the excitement and wanted to come and check it out. Now, one of the important things to point out, not to jump out of screen here, is that the Wolf and Blake book, in addition to being that bridge that we talked about between the rule sets, is also the bridge from the pre-Jihad timeline that you find in Total Warfare and Tech Manual on into the Jihad timeline that you then find in the Blake Ascending book. The next book in the Jihad timeline that we published was Jihad Hotspots 3072. I don't have that one with me, I forgot about that one. The Jihad Conspiracies, which came out, when did that come out?
August 5th.
August 5th, is a book about, basically this is tabloids. This was a very fun book to write. There's conspiracy theories beyond the corporations, beyond the factions, beyond the star empires. There's other cool factions. Some of this is truth, some of this is not. We really tried to have not only have a lot of fun with it, but also to provide some, as we always do, bury some really good secrets in here. For example, for those fans that already paid attention to this, when this was published, we actually buried in here about half of the table of contents from the very next product that we were going to publish. But we did it within the context of, this is a document that I found, I don't know if it's true or not. So for those fans that were really paying attention, we pretty much told them exactly what the next super secret product was going to be. The next product, and this is probably one of the products I'm most proud of to have been a part of over the last many years, is Blake Documents, Jihad Secrets. This was a product born coming out of last Gen Con. The community is incredibly important to BattleTech. We've always believed that. With the new products that we've been doing, with the new excitement that we've generated, we've got new players coming, we've got a lot of old players coming to the game, and we wanted to create something that included those players in with the storyline. Not just something that they could read, but something they could participate in. Something they could feel as though they were a part of. So last night, as the Odessa campaign was underway, so the players... Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, you're right. The night before last, Friday night, the players were involved in one of the campaign-themed games of Odessa as forces from Uncle Chandy, who is the compiler of this document right here, was fighting against Word of Blake forces on one of their hidden worlds. Several Blakeists in their normal robes stormed in to tell the players that a document was about to be published and don't believe the lies. And they ranted, they tore pages out, they threw them on the table and threw them at players. That information started to leak onto websites and forums, and then we published this document the next day. The response we have gotten to date has been phenomenal, to say the least. This is a product that finally starts to reveal some of the real secrets behind the Jihad. How it happened, how it was possible that the Word of Blake was able to amass this great secret army. It also provides specific details on all the units. You finally have hard data, including unit logos on all the forces. And of course, probably one of the biggest and most anticipated parts is there are details on Clan Wolverine and what eventually happened with them, where they're at. And actually, I'm going to leave it at that, because if you want to know more, you go ahead and pick this book up.
On sale now on the Battle Shop?
Yes, on sale now at the Battle Shop.
When's that going to be available via retailers?
This week.
This week. We did it really quick. The last product with the Jihad, of course, is Technical Readout 3075. This is, again, another product I'm very proud of. It's the first new tech readout in 5 or 6 years. It's the first Jihad tech readout that has a lot of units in the Jihad. More importantly, though, it has an entire section on Age of War mechs. The desperation of the Jihad has really beat down a lot of the factory's capabilities and abilities to produce new units. And so smaller companies are finding these old plans for the very first battle mechs that ever walked off production lines for the various factions. The Gladiator, the Mackie, the Fire Bee, and are starting to put these back into production. So the section details the Age of War, and this includes warships. It includes battle mech support vehicles. This is what I love so much about this book, is if you have no interest in the current Jihad, but you still love BattleTech and you still love playing BattleTech, this is the book for you, because the entire section in the back allows you to play any of those mechs during any time frame. If you love the Jihad, this book also explains how these units are starting to appear on the battlefield again. You're right, excuse me. It also includes some of the first MechWarrior Dark Age mechs with full history write-ups of how those are appearing on the battlefield, including BattleTech stats.
Excellent.